All right, appreciate you sharing all those details with us, Ajay. Shifting focus now, gold has been regarded as one of the safest investments for many years because it has a proven track record of preserving wealth during periods of inflation and market volatility. As a valuable metal, gold has served for centuries not only as a symbol of wealth but also as a reliable store of value, making it a popular choice for investors seeking measure of protection during uncertain times. In your daily update of gold prices in India, the days 18, 22, 24 carat in major cities stands at rupees 12,440, rupees 11,404 and rupees 9,333, marking a slight overall decline of demand and inflation. Gold prices in India is determined by both global and local factors. Consequently, the buyer in India must contend with listings that vary based on broader economic factors and seasonal market factors. Now we'll be taking a look at the gold prices today. Now, as far as you can see, the price of 22 carat gold today stands at 12,412 rupees, whereas yesterday it stood at 12,440, which is a marginal decline in comparison to yesterday. We're seeing that 1 gram of 22 carat gold stands at 11,379 rupees, whereas yesterday it stood at 11,404 rupees. 1 gram of 18 carat gold stands at 9,313 rupees, while yesterday's price stands at 9,333 rupees. So we can see that there's a marginal decline in the prices in comparison from yesterday versus today. Now, in comparison to last week, we can see that the prices last week, that is on 15th November, stood at 12,523 rupees for 24 carat gold, 1 grams of 24 carat gold rather. And we can also see that today the price stands at 12,412 rupees. Now, 1 gram of 22 carat gold today stands at 11,379 rupees, whereas last week it stood at 11,480 rupees. Now, 18 carat gold stands at 9,313 versus 9,396 as of 15th of November 2025. So we are seeing a decline in prices of gold in comparison to last week as well. Now, coming to the same time period last month, we see that the gold price today stands at 12,412 rupees, whereas yesterday it stood at 12,604 rupees. So it's a whopping decline of almost 200 rupees. We can also see that last month, that is 22 October 2025, gold prices stood at 11,555 rupees, whereas today it stands at 11,379 rupees, somewhere around 200 rupees difference. We can also see that 18 carat gold stood at 9,457 rupees last month. Today it stands at 9,313 rupees. So we're again seeing a decline in prices in comparison to last month. Now, if we compare the prices of gold from today versus last year, we can see that last year the gold prices stood at 7,897 rupees, whereas today it stands at 12,412 rupees. So it's an increase of almost 6,500 rupees. We can also see that 22 carat gold stood at 7,240 rupees last year, whereas today it stands at 11,379 rupees. We're also seeing that prices of 18 carat gold at last year stood at 5,924 rupees, whereas today it stands at 9,313 rupees. So we have seen that gold has seen a record price increase in comparison to last year. However, in comparison to yesterday versus last week, we can see that prices have indeed witnessed a decline. I am joined by Dr. Sharat Kohli, who is a senior economist on the broadcast. Good morning, sir. So my first question to you is, we have seen that gold prices, are witnessing a price rise in comparison to last year, but we have seen that there's a decline in comparison to last month, whereas last week and yesterday as well. How much of it do you think would you attribute to geopolitical uncertainties versus macroeconomic factors or indicators?
Good morning, Medha. Good morning to the viewers of NewsX. Well, it's a mix of everything. Gold is also traded as a derivative commodity. When I say derivative, I mean it is traded on COMEX in New York and MCX in India, where contracts are sold. Physical gold does not change hands. monthly contracts are exchanged, bought and sold, and hundreds of kilos of gold gets sold every day, in that trading. So some aspect of these price fluctuations is also on account of derivatives contracts, speculative trading, as we call it in more common language. And of course, geopolitical and geo-economic factors do contribute, because the prices have made us stabilized at about $4,000 to $4,100. I'm talking of US dollars, because COMEX in New York is where the gold prices open for around the world, including a little bit from London bullion market as well, but primarily at COMEX in New York. So they have stabilized. They reached a peak of 4,381 at one point around Diwali, and now they have settled around $4,000 to $4,100. It goes up, then profit booking comes, it goes down. Well, we've seen aggravation of Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia has been heavily firing on Ukraine, and Ukraine is now under pressure from Donald Trump to reach a compromise by surrendering land and so on and so forth. So those mixed reactions coming on geopolitical front. There has also been some aggravated activity on part of America for Venezuela and some of the other Latin American nations. Some tensions building between Japan and China. Well, there are geopolitical tensions which are gradually simmering. The use of the word nuclear testing, the use of the word or phrase World War III is now more often than not, which brings jitters in the market and make people buy more gold. But very important aspect, Medha, here is that the central banks who had bought tons and tons of gold, and they have been buying in the recent past, they have not been selling. So the selling has primarily come on account of either small investors, small buyers, or it has come on account of speculative trading. No major sale has happened on part of central banks, which means the central banks around the world still believe that gold is a safe haven investment. So unless central banks sell, you will not witness a deep correction. A correction comes, but then the correction is for $50, $60, $100 here and there. The correction is not deep enough to be impacting the gold prices majorly. So I think for investors, they must consult their investment advisors and financial advisors. But a general news analysis says that gold is still a long-term good investment. The undertone is still bullish. A small news trigger will take the prices up again. A news trigger can also bring down the prices for that matter. To a certain extent, not largely, but upwards movement, there is a lot of potential, and people who want to invest for 2 to 5 years, it's a good bet. And I think they can keep it around 20% of their portfolio can easily be allocated to gold and silver for that matter, which has got industrial use as well. So overall, a mix of all factors, today being Saturday, tomorrow being Sunday, on the weekend, Medha, the markets around the world, precious metal market and commodity markets remain closed. So you will not see any movement today and tomorrow. But yes, the week has been pretty much a stable kind of a thing. In the beginning of the week, it went up to $4,200 also. But then again came some profit booking, and it is stabilizing around $4,000 to $4,100. If I convert it to Indian rupees on 24 karat gold, I would say the prices are hovering between 120,000 per 10 grams to 124,000 per 10 grams. They have been around that for a number of weeks now. And I think unless a major news trigger is there, they are going to be stabilized. And this stabilization, consolidation, Medha, is very healthy, because one-way movement of any asset class can form a bubble, can be unhealthy. So yes, I think people should be glad that they are stabilized around this price.
All right, sir. Thank you for sharing your insights with us. Appreciate it a lot. With that, I step into a short break. Thank you for watching.